to chapter 2, which is EWM master data, which we've already touched on, and it'll just go into some more detail. So describe the relationship between warehouse structure and master data, list the storage types within a warehouse facility, describe activity areas, explain the relationship between the material master and the EWM product master, and explain the EWM quality inspection rule. Again, I'll just give you a minute to read all these key terms. They're all the same ones as the previous chapters. So if there's any you want to call out and have any more explanation, just let me know.
Are you going to stick this on Teams, this deck, Phil, or email it to us or something?
Yeah, of course I will. Yeah,
it's good for all these little
most
terms.
Yeah, if they've not already been uploaded, Nathan, I definitely will do. Yeah. So just want to call out the product master. So that contains the information that allows warehouse to control the flow of products. And products in EWM is the equivalent of material in S4HANA.
We're doing a re-review of the NPD process, or is that just going to happen further down the line?
The what process, Nathan?
The NPD, new products. So when new products are added.
Yeah, so would that come under, that would, I assume that would come under master data rather than the warehouse. I don't think we'd be setting up products. We'd obviously set up that, we'd probably have to set up the master data for the products in terms of the warehouse and the put away, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah. Just in the current world you do though, don't you, right? So it's done separately in warehouse?
Yes, it is. In IMI, we'll get a spec sheet through and then we set up our IMI data.
So for IMI it wouldn't change.
What we're saying is now we think it's like it's going to come through and then filter down through all these systems.
Yeah, but IMI, I would imagine, it's one to double check, but I imagine IMI would carry on as they do today.
Okay.
But anything in S4 should come, yeah, I would imagine would come through.
Right, yeah, okay.
One to double check though, Nathan. Again, these are just all the same terms as before. So again, these are just the key changes that we've been through in the previous chapters. Is everybody okay for me to carry on, or would anybody like any explanation or?
Just go back a slide, Bill.
Yeah, mate.
Just looking at that work step. Is that not the same as a task?
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I know why it's.
Yeah, because it seems a bit, obviously confusing where they put new terms in and it looks like identical to something else that's already been defined.
Yeah,
want to check with that one.
Yeah, I'll add that to my list. So again, this is just the same organizational structure for a warehouse as we were looking at before. So you'd have your warehouse number and your storage type. So high racking, bulk location, fixed bin for case picking, and your storage sections. So your film, seasoning, and then the individual storage bins. So storage types. The storage type is the highest organizational element in the warehouse structure. It is a storage space, facility or zone defined per warehouse in EWM. The storage type is a physical or logistical subdivision of a warehouse complex, which is characterized by its warehouse technologies, space or function. The storage type consists of one or more storage bins. So these are just some example of storage bins. So you've got your good receipt inbound area, good issue outbound area, and then the bits within the middle. So your high rack storage, your fixed bin, a scrapping zone, production staging storage bins, production receipt, and quality inspection area. So for an example would be when a pallet's come off the end of the line and it's scanned, it would go into the production receipt bin and then move to the trailer. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So then, like we've previously discussed, a storage section is the organizational subdivision of a storage type which joins together storage bins with similar attributes for the purpose of put away. The criteria for joining these bins can be defined in any way. So heavy parts, bulky parts, fast moving items, slow moving items. And I've tried, when we've been doing the mapping for all the different warehouses within the manufacturing sites, I've tried to create the storage sections as you have them today. So for example, Christine at Cooper, one of your storage sections is F&F, fruit and flavouring. So it can be pretty much whatever you want it to be. So all the warehouses, those storage sections will be named differently.
Just in terms of physical changes, Phil, have we got any sort of stock that we need to rearrange to fit with this new structure?
How do you mean, Nathan?
It's Simon. Just wondering whether there's any sort of reorganisation we have to do prior to go live within the warehouse, and whether that's likely to have an impact on sort of supply chain.
So which warehouse would you be thinking of from your own point of view?
I guess SRDC or Tolwell, really.
So SRDC, nothing, because it's the same with IMI. Tolwell, I have replicated what they currently have in IMI to match what they'll have in the future. So all their storage location bins will be named the same.
Okay, so, that's fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, so Tolwell should be fine. Skem Warehouse should be fine. Where it's going to probably be the biggest issue is Cooper, Lincoln, and Coventry, who are going to have to label up these storage bins with barcode and get barcodes. So that's where the biggest change will be, which is something I've already got on the radar for inventory cutover and site readiness.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So luckily for Tolwell, Skem Warehouse, they shouldn't theoretically have to do anything. And yeah, for the others, it'll be a case of labeling up the storage bins and getting the barcode stuck on so they can be scanned. So yeah, a bit more work there for Cooper, Lincoln, and Coventry. Laycroft, because they're just staying with the one storage bin. For the corrugate they receive from supplier, it would be whether they want to put a sign up or whether they're just happy that through training people remember, because it'll just be one storage bin and one verification code, or they could just confirm all the tasks from the warehouse monitor and then move the pallets. Does that answer the question, Simon? Is that okay?
Yes, thank you. Brilliant.
Sorry. So yeah, again, I know I've already shown you this in the previous slide. So this is just an example of storage bins and how they could be named. So AA10A, that would be AA10B, AA10C, and so on. Wherever you're putting a physical pallet. That is the same slide, but just an example for Poland. So an activity area is a logical section of the warehouse that groups storage bins based on defined warehouse activities. An activity area consists of one or more assigned storage bins using the following attributes: aisles, stack, level, bin subdivision, depth, or information about storage type. Storage bins can be sorted by any sequence and assigned as many activities as required. So put away, picking, physical inventory, counting, replenishment, packing, staging, loading. So I'd imagine all our storage bins will be set up to deal with all of this, because you'd be wanting to put away, you want to be taking out, you'd want to do the physical counting, etc. But you can, but just to note it, you can, if you did want to, but if you had a location with a pallet in, and for whatever reason, once that pallet had been removed, you didn't want anything to go back in there, you can block the put away for individual storage bins. So, and I suppose the easiest example would be somebody's damaged the location. You might want to do a warehouse task, move that pallet out, put it somewhere else, and then block that location for put away. And then nothing would go in there until whoever's deemed it is it's safe or it's been fixed, and then you can reopen it. Neil, that's just the same as what we do in IMI today, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's quite useful because very often we'll switch pick face off, move the stock out of it, and then put something else in there. So we've almost got with pick face moves. Yeah, that's
so
what we're doing now. Yeah.
This all this detail of EWM isn't really as relevant to IM, so you just carry on as you were today. S4 wouldn't update with things like storage bins for the IM locations. Does that make sense? If you think of EWM being IMI for the manufacturing sites, do you see what I mean?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So basically, EWM is giving the manufacturing warehouses the abilities that we already have with IMI in terms of being able to block bins and stop put away or stop picking, that sort of thing. So a staging area, an interim storage area where material can be stored after unloading or before loading. A material staging area, e.g. for production, inbound receiving or outbound processing in the warehouse. So simple example would be you've got an inbound delivery, you'd scan it into the inbound staging area, and then you would have warehouse tasks moving them from the staging area into the actual storage bins. So I know that's how it would work at Scan. I do know we've had some new configs, so you can actually receive and put away straight to the storage bin if that suits. But more often than not, I would imagine when you've got raw materials, you're getting them all off the trailer, and then you're dealing with the scanning process, etc. A door, an organizational unit in EWM assigned to the staging area. Multiple doors can be assigned to one or more staging areas. So all the doors that we've got at the different sites have all been set up within the system. A work center, a physical location within the warehouse for execution of specific activities such as deconsolidation, inspection, packing, or value-added service process taking place. Work centers can be within a material staging area. Doors, staging area groups, and work centers can be classified as storage types with specific roles. So EWM master data is warehouse specific. So what's been set for one warehouse would be different for another, and requires an understanding of the warehouse's structural elements in order to maintain properly. The following are the main components of EWM master data covered in this chapter. So we've got the product master, storage bin, packing specs, and inspection room. The material master is a representation of all the information and attributes for all the items that PepsiCo procures, produces, stores, and sells. It enables integration across multiple functions or processes and is used by all functional components in the PGT system. It eliminates redundancy and reduces maintenance time and cost. EWM relevant material master information is replicated to the EWM product master, which would be within warehouse management here at the bottom. The EWM product master includes all the properties of a product that relate to its storage in certain warehouses within the framework of EWM. For example, put away and removal control indicators. Product data contains the following information. So it would be the properties, the unit of measure, classification, item group, serial number profile, or packaging data, in the case where product is a packaging material. So a product master, the first 5 tabs of the product master contain data pulled directly from the material master. So such as how many cases are on a layer, the costing, the financial side. And then the next 3 tabs of the product master, that's where it would contain warehouse specific entries. So warehouse data, where you can maintain data or data that can influence put away or stock removal. Slotting, maintain the parameters that are used in the slotting and rearrangement process. Storage type data, and this is maintaining data that is specific to a particular storage type where a product is stored. This generally consists of indicators used in replenishment and storage bin management. So that would probably be relevant for any case pit locations. So a warehouse data view. So the process type determination indicator. The system uses this indicator as one of the criteria to determine a warehouse process type. Batch managed warehouse products. This checkbox is selected. The warehouse product is batch management. This check is set at the ERP level and cannot be changed in EWM. So nobody in the warehouse would have access to be changing whether a product was batch managed or not. That would come from the master. Put away control indicator. This indicator controls which products are put away in certain storage types in a certain order depending on the put away strategy. And then you've got your storage section indicator. This indicator makes the system determine that a product is to be put away into one particular storage section over another. So you might have finished goods that can go on in the floor locations and up in the racking. You can set indicators that it will always look for the floor locations first before above. So you go into the quickest point. Please just stop me if anyone's got any questions. Slotting, this determines the optimal storage parameters for the most efficient storage and picking of goods. It determines the following parameters based on characteristic, demand, storage requirements, and packaging data of the product. So a stocking status is product not get slotted, slotted allowed. This is the initial standard setting. Product not get slotted, slotting not allowed, can be manually set before slotting. And then after slotting, products already slotted and reslotting allowed. And the final one, products already slotted, reslotting not allowed, and can be manually set after initial slotting has incurred. So storage type data. So you can maintain data on the type of facility in which the product is stored. So you can adopt data, select once data in this tab has been maintained, and then this will be the replenishment data. So if replenishment activities can be formed in the storage type where product is maintained, minimum and maximum requirements by products are set in the storage type data of the product. So you could set, so for any case pit locations at SCEM, we could set, once it gets down to 1, we would want an automatic replenishment task of that product to go back in. So now we move on to the storage bin master. Each storage bin must be assigned a warehouse number in which the storage bin is located. The storage type and storage section must also be assigned to each bin. Additionally, the following attributes can be defined by bin. So your storage bin type, used to indicate the relative size of a bin or actual bin dimensions. Bin access type, used to control how a bin is accessed by resources. So for us, it would be truck, etc. Verification field, used in the RF scanning to verify that the correct bin is being accessed. So you would scan. This is why we need barcodes on the storage bins, because as you put a pallet away into a storage bin or pick out, you have to scan the verification code of that storage bin to confirm it. XYZ coordinates, used by EWM to compute distances between the bins and the goods movements, and capacity checking attributes. So that would be things like your max weight or your volume or total capacity. So as you saw before when I showed you the warehouse monitor, if a location has got a maximum number of handling units of 1, the system will not look to put anything else in that storage bin until it's empty. That all makes sense? I know this is quite a lot of information.
No, it's good for.
Just a quick one, Phil. Going back, did you say everything that's going to come in now is is going to be batch managed.
Yeah,
Or is that everything, raw materials and finished goods, is all going to be batch managed?
Yeah.
Has anything changed regarding salt? Because obviously we've had issues in the past with salt, and we've had to use the batch as the date it gets good receipted in. Has anything changed with salt? Do you know?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. We'd be using the supplier batches like we do today.
Okay, so nothing's changed with that.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
But you'd be able to track on the system exactly when it came in, what inbound delivery, what day does it, etc. from the system, because you'd be able to trace the handling units.
Yeah.
So stock and physical inventory. So the stock view of a storage bin master provides a summary of the product currently in that particular bin with its associated characteristics such as batch number, available quantity, and stock type. So again, if you're, like I showed you on the warehouse monitor, you can click on a storage bin and it will come up and tell you what's in there. Goods receipt date, goods receipt time, when it expires, available quantity, unit and measure, stock type, F2 unrestricted, and then obviously your plant owner, and then the plant should be the same, you can dispose, and then you've got the batch, product description, and product number. The physical inventory view of a storage bin master provides a summary of any physical inventory counts performed on that particular bin with the associated document number, count status, and count date. So you would have the ability to click on a storage bin, click on the physical inventory tab, and then you'd be able to see if anyone's performed any counts on that particular storage bin and on what date and what the results were. So you can really drill down into what's been done. The statistic tab of the storage bin master displays all goods movement data that has occurred on that bin, such as the date and time of the last goods movement of the product, the date and time of the last physical inventory count, change history for that storage bin master, and the warehouse task number that last accessed that bin. So you really can see everything from this. So you can see the last movement, the last time it was cleared. Obviously there isn't anything there, but you'd be able to see when somebody last did a physical inventory count of that storage bin, if any information's changed, if somebody's changed it from a finished goods location to a raw materials location for whatever reason, and then that number there would be so that would be the last warehouse task number to access that bin. So then you'd be able to search that warehouse task number and see which resource was there. So I suppose this sort of thing could possibly help in investigate. You know, if you, I don't know, Christine, for Coupar, if you came up with damage racking and no one had reported it, you would actually be able to drill down and see who the last person was to take a pallet out of the location. Activity areas, e.g. put away, picking and physical inventory, are executed in activity areas. Activity dependent bin sorting is created within an activity area. An activity area consists of one or more assigned storage bins depending on the activity. The storage bin can be assigned to multiple activity areas. For each activity, the assigned bins are sorted per activity. For sorting, information from the storage bin, such as aisle, stack or level, is used for sorting criteria. For this storage bin example here, 5 activities can be performed from this particular bin. So an internal goods movement, physical inventory, picking, put away, and stock posting changes. So I would imagine that would be the crux of all our storage bins, because you'd need to be able to do everything. But I suppose in other businesses, you might have certain storage bins that are only for one particular purpose. Warehouse task view shows any open warehouse task against that particular storage bin, and in particular, the open task for product going into the storage bin. So inbound warehouse tasks, and on the opposite, product going out, any outbound warehouse tasks for that storage bin. So you'll be able to see if there was tasks waiting and not been completed. The production supply area view is only relevant for storage bins that have been designated as production supply areas, and the location in the warehouse used to stage products to prepare them for use in the production. So you will have some of these storage bins away from your actual warehouse storage where they drop the pallets at line. So maintain fixed storage bins. So for products in fixed bins, minimum maximum quantities need to be maintained in order to trigger fixed bin replenishment. The maximum refers to the maximum quantity allowed in a fixed storage bin, and the minimum is the minimum quantity allowed before replenishment is triggered. So for your case pit locations, and I think it will come into play for the PSA bins with PMI, you can set replenishments. So as soon as it gets down to a certain level, a new task would be generated. So for packaging specification is another important piece of master data in EWM. A packaging specification is used to specify how to pack a product for put away of transportation. The packaging specification is how palletization data is maintained in EWM. So the packing process that uses packing specification master data are packing in the packing station or deconsolidation area, automatic packing in the goods receipt, delivery processing, packing during warehouse confirmation, and deconsolidation and packing using RF devices.
Phil, just a quick one. Will the factory put away areas, will they be barcode scanned? Will they have to have a barcode scan for that location?
The PSA bins, Paul, yeah, it depends how they want to do it. So the answer is yes, they will need a verification. It's just whether you want to get signed. You're probably better off getting signs and barcodes, but as long as people know what the numbers are, you don't necessarily need to scan it. You can type the numbers in. It would probably depend how practical it is to have a barcode in that particular area, if that makes sense. So, for example, in Skem Warehouse, we don't have barcodes for the card locations because it's just not practical that you'd be able to have barcodes on the floor. So yeah, we've set the verification codes up that if the location is CA10A, the verification code is 10. Whereas with the racking, it's all very random, and you have to scan the barcode.
Right.
But yeah, that could possibly be something that you want to look at if you want to get barcodes for the different PSA bins. Does that answer the question, Paul?
Yep.
Yep. So key attributes of packaging specification. So determination designates where physically that packaging information is being used. Product specifies the material being packed. Case level information that includes a quantity classification, and then the pallet level with the HU type, packaging material, HU creation indicator. This would indicate the level at which the auto pack during the creation of an inbound delivery, and the default pallet item. Packaging specification is a predefined structure as outlined below. So header, contents, level, element group, and finally the element. So this is just an overview example of a header material. And then the content within inside it, so which would contain all the product attributes at the bottom. So obviously things we won't be maintaining, but as part of master data, it needs to be maintained. So your case, your weight, etc., pallet type. Then we go down to the case level. and it drills down. So the amount of eaches within the amount of eaches that are packed within a case, etc., etc. So 12 eaches equals one case, and then 70 cases equals one pallet. You can see there from at the pallet level, it's changed, so the target quantity would be 48 for this particular product. And then how many eaches.
Phil, is repalletizing been captured in this, or is it not in scope? You know, if you're changing from like a wooden pallet to a plastic pallet or anything like that?
No, so I think everything, so because we're different in the UK, everything will just be like it is today. That's the plan, that everything will just be under one product code for the pallet, if that makes sense, because we don't, whereas in Poland, they actually inventory the pallets, whereas we don't do that in the UK. So rather than splitting everything down and people having to change the packing specifications for certain raw materials because they've come in on a blue pallet, it's not going to give us any benefit. So I think we'll just have a standard packaging material that everything will be under.
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we did ask the question, because obviously things can get a lot more complicated, and then you've got more data to add and different pallets, whereas because we don't inventory them systematically, we're just using the one pallet type.
Okay.
So inspection rules. So the inspection rule in EWM dictates that setup requirements for products in EWM requiring quality inspection with certain processes, e.g. quality inspection upon goods receipt from supplier or quality inspection post-production. The inspection rules must be created in the system in order to define rules required for creating inspection documents in EWM. These are reflected in S/4HANA by populating quality personnel work lists to the physical inspection process, and then the results can be reflected back to S/4HANA. Quality inspection results can then drive subsequent warehouse actions with a visual check carried out by warehouse personnel. So key attributes of an inspection rule. So inspection rules determine how the quality inspection rules apply in EWM. Inspection rule group, short code with a description for grouping inspection rules of the same type. An inspection type defines how the inspection is performed. I'm assuming whether that would be visual or actual testing. A Q-score procedure, select the usage decision as to determining who decides the inspection. Process step, rules that are set up during the put away process to move product to a quality storage bin until the usage decision is made. In our case, you'd be moving it to the bin that it gives you, and then you'd have a quality status. Once the decision is made, a step allows you to create to the follow-on warehouse task based upon the usage decision. So quality to unrestricted bin, storage bin, quality to blocked bin, storage type, depending on the results. If you had a damaged pallet, you could move it to block so it wasn't picked. Independent stock type defines the stock type in which you want to post the inspection stock, and an inspection duration. The system uses this entry to calculate the planned end time of the check. So again, just an overview of maintaining the inspection rule. So you've got the status indicator, which is set to active for relevant inspection rules. Then you've got the location independent stock type. So this defines the quality of a stock regardless of the availability group of the storage. Apologies. It's just gone. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Apologies. Something must have happened. Something flipped. Yeah. So inspection type, that defines how the inspection is performed, and it's defined in S/4HANA, so in the master data. So your different inspection types will be there, which would then lead on to different actions, whatever that may be for quality.
Are you thinking in current state then that any kind of inspections that we do at Skelmersdale will be like ad hoc inspections?
it's probably something that, yeah, it could be something you could, if you could pick up with Magda and find out for us
Yeah, will do.
what is the plan for the raw materials into the UK? Is it a visual inspection by the people receiving it in, and they accept the usage decision? Because obviously, yeah, otherwise you're going to have a lot of work from a quality point of view, aren't you?
Yeah.
But I would imagine with it, there will be certain products around the business that do require certain checks, isn't there? I don't think it's as relevant for us at the minute, but
I think the main one's going to be like potato intake. You have the certain checks you've got to do on the product.
yeah, and the bulks, you'll have to do checks on your bulks, etc.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know, the checks that they do today, seal, container number, everything on the paperwork matches, nothing wrong with moisture levels. Oh, quick knowledge check. True or false? EWM master data is maintained by the warehouse.
False.
Who maintains quality inspection rule data?
It's the master data, isn't it?
I think it would be, would it? Quite, yeah. So quality personnel.
Okay.
And it was true, by the way, for EWM. It can be maintained by the warehouse in terms of storage bins, etc.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this isn't the material. Sorry, this isn't the material master. So this is just the EWM data. So for your put away patterns.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which, yeah. So stock status used for quality inspection material in EWM is Q4. At what level is a HU created when auto packed? And that's at the pallet level. And one I think we had before, the smallest organizational unit in EWM is the storage bin. Any questions before we move on? So the next chapter is inbound processing. Just give me 1 second. So EWM inbound processing, so creating inbound deliveries, identifying inbound delivery types, confirm inbound put away tax, excuse me, process customer returns and define empties and returnables. These last two will not be relevant for us in EWM in the UK because we don't process customer returns and we don't deal with empties and returnable packaging. So they're Poland specific in terms of EWM. Our customer returns are managed through the IMI sites. Apologies about that bit at the top, that should be deleted. So again, just the same key terms. If there's any on there that you'd like me to explain a bit more, please give me a shout. I'll just give you a minute and flick through them. And again, just some of the key changes that come with this with EWM. So EWM inbound processing overview. What is it? EWM inbound processing refers to the process of how a warehouse receives goods from a supplier or from another plant using EWM functionality. The goods receipt triggers subsequent process in the warehouse, such as quality inspection procedures and system-directed put-away tasks. Inbound processing is an important part of the logistics process. EWM warehouse facilities process incoming shipments, maintain and monitor stock levels, and incorporate quality procedures in accordance with PepsiCo corporate policy. Batch management is incorporated through the process for relevant batch managed materials, and posting the receipt of incoming material updates stock quantities and communicates valuated stock data to financial accounting for further processing. Neil Walton, are you still there?
I am still here, Phil. Yes.
Just a note, particularly for us, because it's obviously this is our sub-pro for training. There is you've heard us talking about that new config on the RF for receiving in.
Yeah.
So I'll go through those slides as well and show you how it'll work.
Okay.
So this is the general overview and the functions. So inbound delivery created in EWM so it starts with a purchasing order. If it's ASN, the ASN will be received, and that will automatically create the inbound delivery. But there is also times where you would have to create a delivery where there's no ASN. Then perform the EWM receiving process and the goods receipt. And then obviously it goes down. If it's quality management relevant, you'd have the quality piece. If not, you would perform the system directed away activities. So just to note, the goods receipt is not always performed in the event that you didn't want to receive something in. So there's more details in the supplier returns section later in the chapters. So yeah, you do the goods receiving process, and then this is where the quality bit comes in, or it just goes straight for put away. These are just the delivery number ranges. So this just helps you if you're looking at your inbound delivery or your outbound delivery monitor, and you can just see which kind of delivery is being processed. So they're just standard numbers. It's just what it begins with. So business partner or a supplier. So general data at client level, information available to all companies and purchase organisation in a given PGT client. This level includes the following information: supplier full name, addresses, communication details, bank details, and tax information. And then it goes down to the purchasing organisational data and the company code data. So for purchasing data, the level of PGT supplier master data contains all the details relevant for purchasing department and includes the following: partner roles, terms of payment, three-way match information, and purchase order currency. And for company code data accounting, details relevant only to a specific company code, for example, if you're withholding tax information, invoice payment terms, and other payment details, plus account management.
This helps maintain our master supplier list, doesn't it? Because nobody on the system, you wouldn't be able to take any stock, would you, from nobody that's already been inputted into the system?
Sorry, Paul, say that again.
This helps your master supplier list. So you basically only approved suppliers, you can only get stock from approved suppliers.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So advanced shipping notification, or known as ASNs, are key documents in collaboration between PepsiCo and suppliers or a business partner. A supplier or a business partner uses an ASN to inform PepsiCo that a shipment has been sent. The ASN contains information on which products and quantities are in transit and the expected time of the delivery. So a supplier or business partner can create ASNs for the following objects: purchase orders, stock transport orders, or other purchasing documents. So you would have ASNs in the case of STOs where, say, NRDC was sending stock back to Skempol, it would be on an ASN, and the same when we send it out. Like I said before, Kappa should be ready for go live in terms of sending ASNs. So supplier sends an ASN, the system would automatically create the inbound delivery using an ASN. Then it's the physical receipt of the material, the post goods receipt, and the put away, and then the put away process. So this is just a general overview of an inbound processing for a stock transport order. So it starts there. So it's either from demand management or a manually created stock STR, which is a stock transport requisition, booking the transport. It would then conduct material MRP. It would review stock transport requisition and convert it to a stock transport order, and then go through the transport management, which would then go to the outbound warehouse. They would post the goods issue and pick, and then it would come through to the EWM for basic inbound processing through an ASN. So in terms of STOs, there is two different types of stock transport orders, or IWTs as we know them as today. So an intra-company STO refers to the transfer of material from one plant to another within the same legal entity. So that would be when we're sending IWTs from factory clearance or DRP, Nathan, all within the same legal entity. And an intercompany STO refers to the transfer of material from one plant to another in a different legal entity. So an example where we could have an intercompany STO would be if we were sending something from a PepsiCo UK site with SAP to a PepsiCo Poland site with SAP.
So when will you be able to like demonstrate a STO generation? Is that somewhere further down the line?
Yeah, I won't be able to generate an STO today.
Okay.
Yeah, but that we're still working on the DRP, aren't we, Nathan?
Yeah, so that's all. That's just DRP, is it? Because I guess it's involved with raw materials ordering as well, is it? And movements from factory to.
Yeah, true. Yeah, in terms of so that would be based on the MRP, and then you would create an STO on the back of that. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That is something. I'll make a note of that. But it is something we will need to see the creation of a.
Sure. Cheers.
So inbound processing. So inbound deliveries will typically be generated from the system, from the supplier ASN, but there are situations in which the inbound delivery must be manually created, e.g. a supplier is unable to send an ASN by warehouse personnel, and the purchasing document is needed for manually creating an inbound delivery. So you would do this step in S4 HANA, and then it would distribute the delivery to EWM. So you would validate from the purchase order, you would validate the below when creating the inbound delivery against the ASN or purchasing information, where you'd have the material, quantity, and batch. I think we still need to double check on who will be creating these inbound deliveries, whether it would be the warehouse or when it's GTMS relevant, whether this would have to be done by P2P on the back or the raw materials planner, because obviously we have the transportation units and the transport management part of this. But yeah, the important thing is that an inbound delivery can be created manually. And in EWM, we will be you'd have a PO and then an inbound delivery created on the back of that purchase order, and we would be receiving against the inbound delivery.
Can these be created prior to the materials being at site, or does it have to be done at a point of receipt?
And I think that's the point. Something we probably need to round back on a little bit, because the warehouse would only be able to create an inbound delivery when it arrives at site. So if it's GTMS relevant, they would need an inbound delivery to assign to the transportation unit. So it's possible that this would have to be done before, based on what the supplier is saying that is being sent.
Yeah. So
whether that would fall into P2P or you make more, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not been finalised yet.
But you also have the situation where you've got like flyers that come in, haven't you, Paul? Where you've got one pallet of film or one pallet of seasoning on the back of a wagon that's coming, that's provided by the supplier, rather than being our transport relevant. So that's probably a process we just need to iron out.
Yeah.
So displaying purchase order. So you can use the display purchase order app to view display information on the purchasing document and validate the material and quantity that should be provided by the supplier. So let me share it. Apologies, just let me log back in and I'll see if I can show you an example of a purchase order. Can you see the screen? Oh, sorry, I'll be shared, wouldn't it? Or can you? Oh, can you see SAP?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the log on for that. Right. So the create inbound delivery bit, you'd have the PO number. So these were ones we did for Torwell. So if you were creating it, there's nothing in there at the minute because we've already actually done this. So you'd enter the purchase order number and then it would take you to this create inbound delivery screen. And then if we hadn't already created this inbound delivery, it would have the delivery quantity from the PO and where it was going, all the information, reference document, where plant it was being received at and the storage location. So in this case, this is Tolwell and the storage location, as I said before, would be 9999. And then you would save that and it would distribute it to EWM. So if I just go to view inbound delivery. And this was the inbound delivery that was created against the purchase order that we did in testing. So can you see at the bottom there, it says delivery was distributed, therefore display only. So when the inbound delivery was created, it was distributed to EWM, and then you can see here that this inbound delivery for Tolwell is for that material, for that quantity, plant, storage location. And then at the top there, you can see the vendor, Kerry, vendor number, and then that's the inbound delivery number. That make a little bit of sense? I know it's a little bit broken up.
Yeah, just see it like in proper being used on the actual system.
Let me see if I can log into Tolwell. So we'll go into EWM and the warehouse monitor. We've not actually completed this testing yet, but can you see that's the inbound delivery that's been distributed to EWM?
Yeah.
And you can see there the different statuses. So put away, not started, goods receipt not started, unloading not started, etc. So you can always see where you're up to. But you can see warehouse door because of the point where we got to in the testing, so you can see that that inbound delivery is on door 1 of Torwell. So we've assigned the transportation unit that delivery came on to that door. And then, once you click into the inbound delivery, then you've got the other options. So it's on door 1. You can unload or reverse unload and do your goods receipt.
If you set up a delivery for door 1, does it have to be taken on door 1? Is that how the system going to work, where you can't take it off another door?
Theoretically, you could do. So if you put it on door 3 in the system, but really it went on door 4, you could do it. But the problem is, if then somebody put something else on door 3, you couldn't assign door 3 to it. So you could get yourself mixed up, if that makes sense.
So I'm assuming everything's going to have to be kind of evenly distributed, so you've not got all doors being blocked at the same time and stuff like that.
I suppose it depends if you work it. You can park deliveries in the yard. So you can, once you've checked in a delivery, it will just sit in the yard, and then you move it from the yard to the correct door as and when.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there is that possibility that, if it's a busy day and you've got all 5 doors, on the system, basically with a trailer on, you would have to move one off the door to get the other one. But in terms of scheme factory, that shouldn't really be a problem, because you're not taking the delivery of materials, are you, into the factory, apart from the line size.
Yeah.
So EWM inbound processing, so post goods receipt. The goods receipt is a goods movement defined as a physical receipt of goods into the warehouse. Every goods receipt results in an increase of stock. When a shipment from a supplier physically arrives at PepsiCo facility, a goods receipt is performed, verifying the physical receipt of stock against an inbound delivery. A goods receipt also creates subsequent accounting documents. So you'd have an accounting document for your goods receipt and also material documents. So a bit of the process. So once the goods receipt is posted in EWM, subsequent follow-up activities will occur. Neil, one for us, I think we should change this with the new slides. So if I stop sharing for 1 minute. So I only got these slides the other day. So probably more for Neil. Can you see this?
Yes, I can, sir.
Yeah, so this, with the new cut, it'll basically be one option on the RF that we'll use for all receiving in for inbound.
Okay.
So these are the different scenarios. So you've got your pallets labeled, packing information available. So that's basically scenario 1 is an ASN. So and this will be the same for raw materials or an inbound STO into Torwell or Skem warehouse. The next one is where the pallets are pre-labeled, where we can utilize the supplier label, but there's no ASN. So we need to scan the barcodes. And then the last scenario is that basically we can't use the supplier labels and there's no ASN. So for the first, an ASN, this is the bit we'll be doing the testing at Torwell, Neil, so that'll be important for me and you to see. So the new RF option. So delivery contains packaging information for the batch, sub-item, etc. You would scan the SSCC, and all of this information will then automatically fill. So theoretically, you get 52 pallets of card from Kappa. You should be able to scan the SSCC, and then for each pallet, you can either save it, F2 save, which will put it into the staging area for people to pick the pallets up, or you can press F3 save and put away, and it would give whoever's scanned the pallet the final destination storage bin.
Right.
So you've got the option of either or. Scenario 2, which is where we'd scan the we can use the supplier labels, but there's no ASN. So you'd scan the products and production data set. So you'd scan one of the barcodes, then scan the SSCC barcode, and all of the information should filter through.
Yeah.
So it's that extra scan. And then the fields on the RF screen should populate with everything you need. And then again, F2 save, it's in the staging area, F3 save and put away.
Yeah.
It would give the person a task. I would imagine this sort of thing would be site dependent. I know at SCEM, the people who are tipping the raw materials or the inbound finished goods in would not be the people that are putting it away, but that could be different at different sites. And speaking to Canthit, the post-goods receipt will happen pallet by pallet as we're scanning in as well.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so you won't be, yeah. So, yeah, so pallet by pallet, it will send the post-goods receipt information and confirmation through to S4. And this is the last one. So when you've not got any label that you can utilize, you'd use that handling unit create function of the RF receiving.
Yeah. And
then you'd input the details and create the handling unit, like we would today in barcoding.
Yeah.
So I get a pallet that I've got no label. I have to go into barcoding, fill this information, and create the handling unit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something we do at Leicester sometimes with the some of the bought-in stuff. If suppliers sent, it's supposed to, I don't know, 26 pallets of knobby nuts, but it's 25 of ready salt and 1 of honey roast, if you like. They've got the ability there, yeah, like I say, to go into barcoding and create a new label for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you just create it in Holland, which is our virtual location.
Just to watch out though, this is EWM, so this won't be for SRDC.
No.
This is just the confirmation that they'll be inserting this for you can either step 1 receive and put away into the storage bin, or you can receive and put in the staging area and create tasks. So that's one action for us. We need to just get these slides updated, for the inbound process.
Yeah.
So moving on, you've still got so this is the warehouse monitor. It can be used to display and process completed open inbound deliveries at various stages of delivery processing. So to access my warehouse monitor to view inbound deliveries from suppliers, confirm warehouse orders, tasks. So that's basically what I just showed you, for Tolwell and SCEM earlier on, where you can log into the monitor and you can look at inbound, outbound, etc. So you can maintain an inbound delivery. You can either click directly on the delivery item to view the delivery details, such as document number, stock status, batch number, and processing statuses. So you can see here, there's the product. This is just an example, product, quantity, stock type. So the goods receipt not been done, unloading has not been done, and the put away has not been done. So this bit once the goods receipt is performed, the goods receipt status will change from not started to completed. So you can just post the goods receipt when it's there. There is different ways of doing it, but obviously with that new functionality, we'll be doing it automatically pallet by pallet. So yeah, once the goods receipt is performed, the system automatically creates a HU label for each pallet in order to print HU labels. So basically any handling unit we create, we'd be able to print the handling unit label. Does that make sense, Neil?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So again, this was just something I mentioned before. So the goods receipt has been performed and the warehouse order or warehouse tasks have been created and they must be confirmed to complete the inbound process. So to confirm, any warehouse orders or warehouse tasks without the use of RF devices, you can access the correct inbound deliveries as shown previously using the warehouse monitor. So if let me,
Yeah.
so you'd have your inbound delivery there. You can click on warehouse tasks. There's no warehouse tasks associated with this because we've not done anything with the delivery yet. Those warehouse tasks will be there. So you'd be able to see the pallet HU, what destination bin it's there, and then you can click on them and you'd be able to confirm the warehouse tasks.
Okay. Yeah.
Once they're created. Obviously, you would, the majority of the time you'd be using your RF, but you have got the capability of confirming tasks. So it could be something that could be used if you have got a big storage bin, and especially say Laycroft, where all their corrugate will go into that one storage bin, rather than everybody having to scan all the different handling units. It is something that they could utilise.
Yeah, almost like a bulk receipt, isn't it?
Yeah. So show me the warehouse monitor. Right. Customer returns, we don't need to go through this. So if you just see these two here, sub chapters for inbound, so customer returns and returnables and empties, we don't need to look at these from an EWM point of view. So the next chapter is basic outbound processing. Describe the basic EWM processing activities, differentiate between EWM outbound delivery document types, describe quality management role in supply returns, and confirm EWM outbound delivery warehouse order, warehouse tasks. Are you happy for me to just go through these, Neil?
I am, mate, yeah.
If anybody wants anything explaining, just let me know. So same key changes here, Neil, as all the others.
Yeah.
So basic outbound processing overview. EWM basic outbound processing refers to the process of how a warehouse performs a system-directed picking, packing and shipping operations for a customer or other PepsiCo plant using EWM functionality. Basic outbound processing is an important part of the logistics process. Warehouse facilities process outgoing shipments, maintain and monitor stock levels. Batch management is incorporated throughout the process for relevant batch managed materials using batch determination functionality for systems suggesting picking of materials that fulfill custom requirements. Posting goods issue for material updates, stock quantities and communicated evaluated stock data to financial accounting for further financial processing. These are just the number ranges again, Neil. So you can see the differences. So inbound, this is customer outbound, STO outbound. So outbound deliveries created, system directed pick, pack, load activities, and then post goods the issue in EWM. So they're the functions covered. So outbound deliveries will typically be created through a background job from the sales order, but there are instances where they will have to be created manually by warehouse personnel. In order to create an outbound delivery, the warehouse must note the corresponding sales order number. So we don't really do customer sales orders from
No warehouse.
From EWM sites, but obviously we will do. There is the chat. We might have to do STOs at times.
Yeah.
We'll need the ability to create an STO. So the outbound delivery is either generated manually or through the sales order. And then warehouse picking, packing, and load and post goods issue. This is the same stock transport order slide as before, Neil.
Yeah.
But obviously it's just highlighted the outbound bit. So all this follows the same process, and then it's the basic outbound processing. and goes through for the inbound processing. Again, same slide as before, Neil, just the difference between an intra and
An intra, yeah.
so we will be intra-company STOs when it's within the UK sites, and an intercompany would be if it was from somewhere in Europe who was on in PepsiCo site in SAP. But they would have to be on SAP for that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so in order to manually create the outbound delivery, the following information is required. So sales order number, shipping point, and batch requirements if there was any. And just to note, this step is done in inventory management, not EWM. And we wouldn't allocate a batch in this step. EWM will pick based on its picking strategies.
Yeah.
So FIFO.
Yeah.
So the only time order management will ever have to input a batch into a sales order or an STO is for yellow code.
Yeah.
Which you've been through with us. But yeah. I'll make a point that we'll try and get all these, hopefully you'll be able to see a lot of these through testing, Neil.
Yeah, yeah.
So outbound processing, pick, pack, stage, post goods issue. So once an outbound delivery is created in EWM and are ready to be processed, the warehouse orders or tasks are created for subsequent confirmation of system directed activities prior to posting the goods issue. So you've got the creation of the warehouse tasks. They would confirm the packaging material, pick the product, put it in the staging area, do the pick, load it, confirm all the activities,
Done, yeah.
and post the goods issue.
Yeah.
Again, warehouse monitor can be used to display and process completed and open outbound deliveries at various stages of the delivery processing. Access my warehouse monitor to view outbound deliveries to customer or confirm warehouse orders, tasks, time resources, and more. So you can do a lot with this warehouse monitor. So from the warehouse monitor, you can click directly on the delivery item to view delivery details such as document number, stock status, batch number, and processing statuses. Apologies. You can view and confirm created warehouse tasks for the outbound delivery. And you can see there the batch information would only be populated after the picking and packing because we've not assigned batches.
Not assigned batches to it, so no, it won't know till you've done it.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see at this stage, everything's not started. The truck's on the door, ready for it. But apart from that, nothing else has been started. Can you see my screen again now?
Yes, I can, mate. Yeah.
So, I'll look at outbound on the monitor. Don't think we'll find, no, there's no outbound delivery orders created, but no, I've got nothing in there. But yeah, you would go onto the outbound delivery orders screen.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see if we'll pick anything up from what we've done in the past. No. So yeah, if there was any outbound delivery orders or STOs, you would see them here.
Yeah.
And it would, document type, document number, TU it's assigned to, where it's going, where it's from, number of handling units, etc., etc. And then I think from what Pranay was saying to me, you could have an outbound delivery, and then if you click the wave, and then that would create the warehouse tasks for that outbound delivery.
Okay. Yeah.
Bit like the equivalent of dropping a load in.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the way, Pranay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as you sort of showed me the last couple of screens. I'm looking at it and thinking, yeah, this is the sort of thing I would see in IMI if we'd got an outbound departure. You know, they're not started, that sort of thing. So yeah.
I think what you're actually going to do. So
Yeah.
obviously the global training documents, they're correct, but there's obviously little bits we could to help with training. Obviously, you'd be taking through on the system, so it'd be better when there's a lot of data in there and you can play around.
Yeah.
That's what I'm currently doing with the quality side of it. So I'm doing like a step-by-step instructions. Click this, click that next, click that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing at the moment.
No, definitely, mate.
And then there's always got that like reference document, and then they can always go back to it, especially when you've got new starters and stuff.
And that's the thing with this, Paul. I think it's the right approach, because theoretically everyone's going to be a new starter, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
So so with the post, once all the necessary picking, packing, staging activities are confirmed, you'd select goods issue, and the status of the goods issue will change from not started to completed, which you can see there.
And this is the one where you're telling me where if it's not posted, that's the point at which it stops, doesn't it? An outbound.
Yeah, so you'd need to do the post goods issue.
You need to do the post goods issue, otherwise your receiving site can't actually do anything with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the equivalent of completing a load on IMI.
Yeah.
You could pick 26 pallets, but if nobody finishes that load off, it's
just 26 pallets, isn't it? Yeah.
Just 26 pallets sat in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So supplier returns, this will be relevant to EWM in terms of raw materials being returned to a supplier if they're not up to quality, etc. So the supplier returns process is initiated when a material must be sent back to supplier due to poor quality requirements, or if the material received was actually the wrong material. So there's two processes for supplier returns. You can return prior to the goods receipt, and then that way a return delivery would not be created, but you'd need communication between quality and warehouse personnel. A return after a goods receipt. So returns delivery is created by quality management using a quality notification if the material is to be physically returned to the supplier. The return delivery will be postcode issued out of the warehouse using My Outbound Delivery Monitor, and then the supplier may communicate that physical material is not to be physically returned, and PepsiCo will scrap. So, dead simple example, Paul. We receive in a film delivery, and then we notice as we're putting one away that one of them's damaged or soaking wet. We would then obviously get the quality team over to view it, and then they would raise a quality notification against the supplier and create a return delivery, which we can then pick that pallet and send back to the supplier.
I was just going to ask that question. So is the quality notification always going to be raised by the quality department? Will none of it be done by the warehouse team?
Warehouse will have the ability to raise ad hoc quality notifications. So again, a simple example, if I was walking down the aisle and I saw a bag of sugar and thought that looks a bit dodgy, I can raise an ad hoc quality notification against that pallet, and then for you to come and view it and let us know what you want us to do with it. You might turn around and say scrap it, or you might come over and say no, that's fine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no worries.
But I think in this instance, quality would have to raise the return order for when you're actually sending it back. But you could have the thing where a supplier might say, well, I'm not going to waste my money in transport collecting one pallet of film, just bin it. But you'd still do the return delivery for the financial side of it, as if you were sending it back, but then we might just that pallet on the trailer outside.
Yeah. So just to obviously get your money back on that material.
Yeah, so we would definitely we definitely have to do the return delivery and complete it.
Is that different to how things are done today then, would you say, or is it similar to what we do?
What in terms of what, Paul?
in terms of quality, because obviously these quality notifications are going to be slightly different, but the way you get damaged product now in the SCEM warehouse, would you still always call a member of the quality team to inspect it and
Yes,
run the rule over it?
The different, so I'd always be looking, unless it's blindingly obvious. And in terms of supplier issues and it was damaged, then yes. So if I received some card in there, I thought that looks a bit dodgy, it'd be a case of sending quality pictures, or Mike Moore to liaise with you and say, what do you want us to do with this? And then they would give us the decision. I think the difference is that you would have to create a return delivery, whereas we can just do that in Oracle at the minute and do a returns transaction. So that might be the only slight difference to it.
Okay.
But you should be involved in quality systematically. You don't have to, but you should be. For me, anyway, because we're not quality experts, are we? So, if in any doubt, I would be getting, if I was on a shift with you, Paul, I'd be saying, can you come and have a look at this material? I'm not sure we should be using it.
So, just get clear in my head. So the quality person would only have to do action on the quality notification, or do they have to actually return the product?
No, we do that. You just need to create the return delivery for us that then we can pick that pallet against. We would do all the warehouse side of it. It would just be a case of you creating a return delivery on the back of that quality notification, because we're sending it back to them.
Okay. Do we have visibility what that sort of thing will look like or not? I don't know if I've covered that yet myself.
Not in this, just pick up with Magda though, because it might have been done in testing.
Okay.
She might be able to take you through the process.
Yeah, no worries.
So again, these are just the number ranges. So supplier return delivery starts with an 8. And then these are just the different process flows for. So this would be supply return. It's not a quality managed material, but we've done the post goods receipt and received it in.
Yeah.
So we've we've put the pallet away, detected an issue. Is the QC on site? No. Contact them. Yes. Block the material and create the quality notification. And then QC would create a return delivery. And then we'd carry on with the EWM outbound processing and PGI return delivery. And then there's just a little note at the bottom. Once the PGI is complete, the stock can be physically returned or scrapped at site. That would depend on the supplier.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I'm pretty sure if it was one pallet,
they're going to say bin it, aren't they?
But I think if it's over 1 or 2 pallets, we would insist that they come and get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm assuming where we look at this and it says return delivery needed and it says no, I'm assuming this would be, Paul, you come over and it's like, yeah, we've damaged it, so no, we would dispose of it. We wouldn't need a return delivery. So this will be for quality managed materials. So PGR and EWM system, quality inspection of the stock has got a quality inspection stock status. You perform the quality inspection, or whoever performs the quality inspection. Those results are then recorded. If they're accepted, happy days, it goes through. If it's rejected, then it would be blocked and a quality notification would be created. And that's again, is there a return delivery needed, and follows the same process. And then the last one is when there's been no goods receipt and we don't want to basically take that stock in. So the product physically arrives at the facility. We detect the issue. Let's use an extreme example, Paul. 26 pallets of card. There's a bad odor on the trailer. All the pallets are wet. We're not receiving that in. We'd contact you. You'd create a quality notification and just send back the shipment. There's no return order needed.
Well, okay.
You would just do a post goods. We can do it. We can do a 0 post goods receipt and basically refuse to take it in. And then it would just be taken back to the supplier. But because we've not received anything in, there's no financial aspect, so you don't need to do any returns order. It would just be the case of And I'll be honest, I've never seen this where we're rejecting a full trailer. But again, we would not be doing that on our own back today. We would be contacting the quality coordinator on shift.
Yeah.
I'm very conscious that we've just gone over 12, so I'll just quickly run through these. So for outbound warehouse order and warehouse task, what material must be confirmed to complete packing? So that would be the packaging material, i.e. the pallet. True or false, outbound warehouse order or task must be confirmed using an RF device, and that's false, which we talked about, because you can do it, you can complete warehouse tasks from the monitor. That isn't relevant to us, that's DSD. What is the document type for supplier return deliveries in EWM? And it's ZRL. And is a returns delivery always generated in supplier processing? And the answer would be no, because if you've not done the post goods receipt, you
Don't need to send it back.
You need to send it back on the system, just physically. I think, gents, should we leave it there?
Yeah.
I think so. Thank you for your time, Phil.